Hello everybody and welcome to another RentalTrax how-to video. We're continuing on setting up your system and training you on how to use your new RentalTrax software. So we want to help you now. We're at the point where we've got our products in, we're moving along, we know the system a little bit, but we want to start putting an order in. So I'm going to train you now on how to do it. And we're going to do it in two steps to kind of simplify it so you can see it that way. So the first step to creating an order, once you've got your order types and everything set in, is we're going to use this new order button on the right hand side. Quickest way to do it. When I click on it, it pops up with a selector for all my different order types. So if you've differentiated based on charity, corporate, etc., you can see it there. Maybe you're doing it based on location. It's completely up to your business model. But right now, we're just going to do, maybe we'll put in an item for, we'll just do a rent to own. Sure. We're going to select our order type, and it's going to pop up with our order sheet. So I'm going to train you first on how to go through the general tab because there's a lot of information here, and the second part will break down the rest of the tabs along the top. So the first thing we want to do is put in our customer's name. If we already have our customer database into it, we can click the selection field and type in the first few letters, and it'll pop up with our client. It's all intuitive, so you just have to put in a few letters and let the system do the rest. If we want to create a new customer at this point, we've never worked with this person, we can click the new customer link on the left and fill out all of the information about that client. So once we put our client in, we can then also, if we're associating this with a separate project, if you're doing like a workplace or an equipment rental or a construction site, you can create a project and check out the project management how-to videos on how to create the projects, and then you can tie all the specific orders into it. So if I type in construction here, I can associate this order with the project number 3, construction. So that way when I go to bill out for the construction project, I can group all the orders together. Really handy feature. Then I'm going to scroll down here and I'm going to select my date and time. So I'm going to say that I'm renting these products from November 1st. And they're leaving my inventory at 11 o'clock in the morning. And they are coming back on November 6th at 11:30 in the morning. So what I'm doing is then you can see it's creating a timeline of 5 days, 1 hour, and 30 minutes. What I'm doing at this point is I'm creating the time that the inventory is unavailable. So it's out of my system and I can't rent it to somebody else from this date range. Then for my internal description, I'm going to put this in as Bob's Big Booking, any internal description that you like. And you'll go through this a lot faster once you get used to it, but for now we're going to go through it by each piece. Then I can select from my departments on the right hand side. I'll select that I'm doing tents because that's the products that I know I want to rent today. I can then associate any contract. So if you set up your conditions on our condition template, you can select them from the drop down menu here. So I want to attach condition 1 so that I know the second page of the PDF is going to be the contract that I want to use. My payment method is very important. I can select which payment method the person is going to use, my client is going to use. For this piece, I'm going to select invoice, and remember, you create all of the different payment methods that you like. Transaction ID, maybe you want to tie this in and relate to one of your accounting softwares or a different transaction ID. You can set that in here. We'll move on to status now. So status is very important for your inventory control and how you move through the system. So if a client first calls you and says, I want a price on product X, you're going to set that as a price calculation. What that's going to do is going to be able to provide the client with professional invoicing and professional paperwork, but not reserve your inventory. So it's very important that that will not book your inventory. Then if the client calls you and says, I'm seriously interested, can you hold it for me for a little while? That's still not a booking, but now we can change it to quote. And what that's going to do is hold the inventory for the client. So now it's holding it, and we'll also refer back to later on if you use our sales dashboard. That is where you're going to see outstanding quotes, outstanding items that are in there, holding your inventory that you haven't collected on yet and changed to a booking. So make sure you go through the process in that order. The next step is when they call and say, I'm ready to pay, I want to go for it, let's make it 100%, you change it to booked. That's how easy it is to change the status. Now the inventory is locked in and you're moving forward. Okay, and then we have a couple more fields here for references and remarks that we can then use later on, dynamic fields to pull from to be able to set up our paperwork, any of our automated emails, etc. As I scroll down, I then get to the custom field section. So in the custom field section, I've already got some standard parts in this template. So it says customer note, my delivery instructions, any payment terms and type of rentals. This area down here is very important for internal customer invoice and credit note. The words that are set up in green, that means whatever you type in this field, so customer is a great client, the customer will see it on their paperwork as well as your internal staff, but it will not show up on the invoice or credit note. It's really important to know what you put in here and where it's going to go. You can also use the Edit and Add Fields button to launch the layout editor, and then you can edit the fields in here. And this is a whole other how-to video that you can view as well, so make sure you check that out so you do set up your paperwork properly. Then I'm going to scroll down, and now's when I'm going to enter in my products. So along the top, I now have my factor set based on the factor master I set up when I was creating my products of 6 days to a factor of 2.8. If I scroll up, I see this is over 5 days, so the system intuitively says it's 6 days rental. I can also use the drop-down menu if that's not exactly correct and change it. So it's only an hour over 5 days, so I'm going to give them the 5-day pricing. I can also choose then with the drop-down menu to make this order tax-free or not tax-free. So if you're doing an order for a charity or a church or whatever that's tax-free, simply select yes, and it will take the taxes out. But now I want to put in my products. So in the how-to videos on new product creation, we created a 2013 tent. So all I have to do is type in 2013, and I can see my 2013 tent package pops up. It tells me a lot of information, tells me the category it falls under, the price, how much to replace it, and it tells me my stock level. So it shows in green, I have one of those available. So I'm going to click on it, and I want to add it to my order. Now some very interesting things happen. I see in the white row, I see my product is already applied. It's got my price of $250 multiplied by my factor. I can see my total price for this rental is $650 before tax. And then in the orange field, I see my cost price. So I can see that it's going to cost me $100 to rent it for that timeline. So I'm going to profit $550 based on this here, based on the one-time rental. So I can then continue forward. I see my tax class and I see my totals, including tax, all broken down over here on the right-hand side. I then see underneath in the gray rows are my sublines, and you'll notice there's no factors, there's no price, there's no discounts, any of those items put into here because these are my sublines. This is internal information, not for my client to see. I can use my link here for show hide sublines to clean up my order sheet a little bit so that I don't have to see that. Now, if my client wanted a discount on that item and we were going to apply a dollar-based discount, I could enter it into this field here, and I can give them $10 off of that order, and it will apply to the price before tax and give them a new total on the right-hand side. That's for a dollar-based discount. Okay. If I want to do a percentage-based discount, we're going to use our calculator, which I'll explain in a minute. But I want to put another product in here before we move on. If I wanted to charge an additional labor fee or any of our virtual fees, I can do that in here. So if I type in labor, I can see the two products I've created is indirect labor and direct labor. So this is a direct labor to set up the tent. I'll select it. It tells me my price per hour is $86 per hour. I know it's going to take 4 hours to set it up, and it calculates $344 as my price. Then I can work on my percentages. If I want to add those, I use my Show Hide Insurance and Discount Calculator button at the bottom, and it pops up my calculator. I can then scroll down, and I can charge them either add delivery, insurance, or a discount to the item. So if the client wants a discount of 10%, and that's going to close the deal for me, I select Discount from my drop-down menu. It's preset based on my settings to 10%. If I wanted to change it, I could do so in here. I can change it to 5%, or I can set it back to 10%. We'll give them a 10% discount. And then down at the bottom in the selected product, it says discount already because of my settings, but all you do to get there is type in the word discount and select it. Okay, that's going to make the discount product attached to the order once we click the add to order button. Now you'll notice it gave them 10% off. It has its tax class associated. It's just how you set up your virtual product. And if you need more information on that, definitely look at the how-to video, revisit that area. But what it did as well, you see in this box here, select which product types the calculation is based on. The grayed product types are the products that are going to be affected by this calculation. The white area is not. So my virtual product is not selected. The reason that I'm doing that is because my virtual product is my labor, which means I'm charging $86 an hour because I have to pay somebody to do this work. So I'm not providing a discount on those items. I'm just providing a discount on products. So I can separate those simply by doing that. And then if I wanted to add insurance to the item, maybe I wanted to charge or add 12% insurance because that's what I pay. and I wanted to add it also to virtual. I can hold Control and select virtual, and now they're all highlighted, and I can click add to order, and it will add my insurance cost to that order. So once I put all my pieces in, that's it for the general tab. That's how we get through setting up the initial page. We'll continue on setting it up in the next part of the how-to video. If you have any questions, give us a call at 888-925-6236. That's 888-925-6236. Send us an email at info@rentaltrax.com or check us out online at www.rentaltrax.com.